So what have you learned about Charlotte that you didn't know?
What have we learned about Charlotte that we didn't?
A ton of stuff. I mean, well, we can explain what we're doing if you want us to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would say that the fact that we walked around downtown and it was just like a smoking pit, like it felt like
Like a giant barbecue, which I think is wonderful. It smelled great, but then it's like
if a building catches on fire, no one's gonna know.
no one's gonna know. Someone's gonna be like, "That smells good. What are those baby back ribs?"
No,
over there?
that's actually a baby on fire.
A baby's on fire.
Yeah, that
well,
building's-
turn her. Her back is pink. I love crispy skin. So.
I want my baby back.
As you go into town to town, I mean, you guys have always put a lot of focus on localism.
Yeah, we just did a pilot for the Travel Channel that was born out of a podcast that we were doing called, basically, we call it Finding the Funny. But whenever we go to a town and do stand-up, we give ourselves a challenge. We're like, how much local material can we write? How much material can we write about our experience in this town? So it does two things. It forces you to go around the town and
Experience the city.
The things that everyone's like, you got to go here. You got to go to Price's Chicken Coop. You got to go here. You got to go to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. You got to do these things. So we're like, okay, we're going to try and do all this stuff. And then if there's something funny about it and we can actually write about it, that makes it so great. So you do those 5-10 minutes. And if it can make the locals laugh then at themselves in a roasty way that's not a mean way, then
We've done it. We feel like we've achieved. And also, it's like a little game with us. We're like, how long can we go before we get into our set material? Can we do 5 minutes? Can we do 10 minutes? Yeah. I mean, and that's a challenge.
And I also think almost like learning a foreign language. People are like, oh, you really took the time. Because if you go to another country and maybe you don't speak the language that well, but if you're trying, I think people give you so much credit. And that's always a fun way to start the show. And then we jump into our stuff. But, you know, it is fun. Comedy takes us all over the place. I don't know if we'd be in Charlotte right now.
were it not for comedy.
I don't know if I'd ever make it to Charlotte. We live in L.A. and there's not a real...
We don't have family here. It's a cool place to come, but like... we're here now because of our job, and so now we get this opportunity to experience this city, and it's amazing.
But you guys never act like it's a job. I mean, you guys are just so natural at what you do.
Thank you.
We have little children, so anytime we go on the road to perform and we're not taking care of little people, it feels like vacation.
It does. It is. You know, again, we're like you could have the attitude that I'm going to stay in my hotel room and just do whatever you do there for the entire time, and then do the shows.
Masturbate.
Yeah. Until night. Or you can get out and experience something, and we're like, that's what the greatest, that we actually get to see this country. We get to meet people from all over and understand the vibe. We'd never been to Raleigh before. We were in Raleigh, and that's where we shot the pilot for this Travel Channel version of what I described to you before, of Finding the Funny and documenting that whole process. And I'd never been there, and now
I'd never eaten North Carolina barbecue.
What do you think of it?
Fantastic.
I love barbecue.
Because if you described it to me, I don't know that I would like it. They're like, it's vinegar based. It doesn't throw a red color. It's not. There's no ketchup in the barbecue sauce. Started like, if you just told me that, I'd be like, I don't know if I would like it. And then I ate it, and I'm like, this is the best thing.
I'm like,
ever.
I love barbecue that looks like someone else ate it and then spit it out again. Because I love feeling like a baby bird.
Right?
I want them to take the food and.
No, but for us, we're like, that's an amazing experience. We get to try it. Now we know what that is. Now we have that in our knowledge base.
You guys have got to take a selfie when you go over to Price's.
Oh, we will.
Because with you in the center of that crowd, you're about ready to experience.
I can't wait. And people are like, go to Max's Speed Shop and go to these places that really in Charlotte represent what Charlotte is all about. And, you know, lucky for us, we get to hang with one of the best club owners that you'll ever see and get a chance to know, and he knows he's the mayor of this town unofficially, and he knows everybody, and so we are getting a chance to see this town in ways that
amazing access,
and we're going to do some cool stuff, and so we're like, where should we go? Where can we not leave Charlotte seeing? And this is, you know,
do you sample the food? Because if you're going to go to Price's, you got to do the chicken gizzards.
Chicken gizzards, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I mean, you'll eat it like popcorn.
I can't wait.
I'm ready.
I can't wait.
Fry anything and I'll eat it. To be honest,
exactly. Chicken toes.
Yeah,
I'll do anything.
So, like when you go from town to town, you guys are basically ambassadors.
We try to be, and I think like what's cool is that we're ambassadors for. We come to your town as comedy ambassadors. We try and bring our comedy to every town, and then we leave. When we leave, we come back and do our podcast. We talk to people. We then become ambassadors for the city that we were just in
And the club.
and the club and the experience that we have. We come back to LA, we share with our audience and our fans, this is what we thought of Charlotte. If you ever go to Charlotte, you got to go to these places. You got to experience these
It will
things.
become evident what are the things you have to do if you ever find yourself in Charlotte. And for fans of ours and friends of ours who listen to the show, I mean, it is the other thing I love is that comedy is one of the last things as we become increasingly a world and a nation where people are looking on their phone and and it's very individual and people are communicating in ways that aren't like face to face. To be in a room full of people that are laughing at the same time as a communal experience is something that just doesn't happen that much anymore. So it's like the 16-foot jump shot in the NBA. You just don't see it anymore. And so it is like a beautiful thing that has to be preserved. And so we feel good about actually even just doing that.
So you agree with Bono then that maybe we need to send some comedians to the Middle East to try to bring peace over there?
I mean, if anybody can do it. Well, here's the thing. Like we have
Bono is hilarious, by the way.
Bono is very funny.
The Edge, not so much.
Yeah.
It's a little on edge.
He's a little on edge. No, we have friends who are comedians. We have friends who are Palestinian. I mean, we're Jews. Yeah. We have friends who are Palestinian, who are Egyptian, who are Iranian. And we're friends. So if we're able to be friends and
why it's not fundamental that you can't be friends with these people. Yes, it would be great to do like a comedy thing like that sort of. I think you could do that. We also as sports fans feel like if you just had like an intense Middle East like soccer league, which I know they all have soccer teams, like let them all play each other and like the people get your anger out on the sports field. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
the battlefield is the sports field, then maybe you're not going to kill each other.
Then shoot a Scud missile into somebody's school.
And you guys are part of the sports world, but have you ever done a political show as well?
We haven't done a ton of political.
Although we have a lot of ideas about political things. I mean, and we are we went to school at the University of Michigan, and we spent a lot of time in Michigan and what's happening there and what's happening with like in Flint and with factories closing down and this and that. The normal rational thinking people that we are, we're like, why doesn't every car company have a hybrid version of their vehicles, and the hybrid version of those vehicles start just making hybrid factories where the old factories were? And if you're a coal miner in Tennessee or in Kentucky and you don't want to get black lung or go underneath, why can't you go to a factory somewhere and build solar panels? Yeah. Why can't we take all those old things and just
give people healthier work?
That's right. Give people healthier work and do that stuff and create incentives for those things. Like I know that's as political as we'll get, but I mean, look, we were in Denver, we were in Seattle. Weed is legal in both of those places. We're not huge like proponents of pot smoking, but those economies are unbelievable right now.
They're booming.
They're booming, and the culture hasn't fallen down. So it's like there are things that we're learning. And again, comedy has taken us to all these places, and you get to see the world. You're like, oh, we've been in these cities. Nothing bad is happening in those instances. So I mean, yes, I feel like we have strong political opinions.
We also though don't want to divide the room.
You're right.
Where people come to us from sports and stuff like that, and everyone has a different opinion on politics. It's so sad that we're at a point now where if you say one thing, you could turn someone off to you forever.
I mean, we're in Charlotte right now. The HB2 thing is like it's a crazy thing. That's not
anything that starts with an H is bad. Let me just say that H1, N1,
HPV. It's all bad. It's all bad. But we were like
HB2.
I mean, it's crazy times that we're in a time now where Bruce Springsteen
Ringo Starr just announced.
Bruce Springsteen won't come and play here because Bruce Jenner can't come and pee here. And that is just a crazy time. Which, by the way, I love that Bruce Springsteen, like we're performing in Charlotte. We don't have that Bruce Springsteen take a stand money. We need to still
Even though we aren't supporting the law.
No, we have to support the law at all.
By the way, I bet there were a lot of members of Bruce's band who was like, all right, bro.
Can we talk about this first before you start canceling things?
I got child support payments I got to make.
Weinberg's like, I'm in a divorce right now. I need some help here.
I'm glad you want to make a stand, but we need to do some gigs.
Let's have a band meeting.
12-person band.
So since you've been down here in the Carolinas, you're in Raleigh, and now you're in Charlotte. Have you done any of the moonshine? Because the South is known for the moonshine.
We have the moonshine. I love that no one makes it. Everyone's got a guy.
Everybody's got a guy.
In their phone. Like that's what is it under? Dave Moonshine. That's all it says.
Everybody's phone in Carolina has like a moonshine guy, and we've tried it. We tried it.
The white lightning, as they call it.
It's gonna get you. It is kind of amazing how everybody like has a moonshine connect. It is interesting stuff, and you got to go places to get, usually out by a dumpster near a train tracks, and then you're good.
No, I mean, we've tried it where it was sort of I guess you don't say cut with. I'm not trying to make it sound like cocaine, but like where someone made it with lemonade and someone made it with like sweet tea.
And then we trade the straight up clear stuff, which is like you could clean your gutters with it. You know what I mean?
I was like, that's too much for me.
Spit take for real.
Who is drinking it? But it was really good.
Yeah, you learn how to put it up to your lips and make it look like you're drinking. Because if you don't know the person that you're getting it from, like when I do the infield at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of moonshine there. A ton of mason jars going around there.
They do it in mason jars, right? I mean, that's the sort of what you put moonshine
You
in.
can't put moonshine like in a thermos. You know what I mean? It's got to be in something that feels authentically moonshiny.
What is the craziest place that you guys have been to?
Jeez. What can you think?
When we were younger in college and whatnot, we traveled to Turkey, which was crazy. We traveled all throughout Turkey. And I mean, like, you know, they don't have toilets. They have holes in the ground. As you're traveling, we took a bus like through the center of Turkey.
We took a bus from a 12-hour bus ride in Turkey. First thing, we get on the bus, all the windows are rolled up. People start smoking. Like on this bus. And you're just like,
seems like a bad idea.
Then we fall asleep. All right, there's a loud Turkish movie going on, but we take a 12-hour bus ride overnight. So we eventually fall asleep and we wake up. When we wake up, there's like a stewardess or a
bus steward,
like, you know, like a flight attendant on this bus. He's going up and down the aisles. He comes, wakes up our friend, and he has this clear liquid in this bottle. And our friend takes the liquid. We don't know what to do with it and starts drinking it and then spits it out because it's cologne.
Oh,
They're passing cologne around. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And we would, and over that night, like we would pull up to this totally dark rest stop. And as soon as the bus would pull up, the lights would come on, the doors would open. It would be this whole active like rest stop and gift shop and all that stuff. And then as soon as the bus would pull away, it would all shut down again. It was very odd and phenomenal.
But it was cool. We went to like an underground city there, and we saw a bunch of ruins, and it was an amazing experience. And we actually had a really good time. Like if we were to write a travel book about Turkey, it would be titled Turkey. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew Turkey was so great?
I'm shocked you guys haven't written a book.
I want to write a book. Someday we will. Maybe we'll write Into Twin Air. The story of
two twins who lose their identity. No, I mean, it would be cool to write a book. I feel like we write a ton of stuff, so writing a book wouldn't be that much of a departure from what we do, but it would be.
We have to accomplish more, and then we'll write a book.
That's right.
How do you keep peace between the streets, man? Because, I mean, the thing is that my brothers and sisters, we just fight all the time.
You know, I think we fight. We have our fair shares of fighting, but I mean, we're normal. But like, we also have families, and like I said, when you have little kids and responsibilities and stuff,
my kids fight all the time. My kids will make something up, like make up a game that doesn't exist, and then fight about the rules. Like those rules have been established for the last 30 years, and like you can't. It's like the tuck rule in football. I'm like, no, you just made that rule up. You cannot take a stand on that rule. I'm watching.
You're fighting.
Then I'm fighting with them. I'm like, that rule doesn't make sense, and I'm like trying to have a logic conversation with a 9-year-old kid.
So then once you leave that and you enter this relationship, or we're go on the road and we work, like this is
too tired to fight.
This is my vacation.
Too tired to fight. Let's just do some comedy.
Let's just have fun with each other. And it is fun. And so I think our families have sort of made this relationship a release valve for us, and it ends up feeling we don't have too much pressure on
Did you perform at your own bar mitzvah?
We did.
We didn't really do comedy, but kind of a little bit. I think we
did a ceremony at the party where we kind of were the MCs.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it was one of our first times of like kind of stepping out in front of lots of people and
speaking,
being public.
So did you do your bar mitzvah together then?
Together.
Really? So, man, that
same day, yeah.
Wow.
Same day.
It's called a b'nai mitzvah.
Yeah, because we did it together. It was cool.
Wow, because I mean, you know, nowadays you go to a bar mitzvah, you know, everybody wants their own party, and if somebody's got a bar mitzvah the same day you do, man, it's like, fights on.
I mean, you
got people like Nicki Minaj coming to people's bar mitzvahs and like singing.
Like a kid. I mean, go online and look at some of these like in Miami, like a kid who like enters his own bar mitzvah party on like a jet ski from like 8 miles out in the ocean, and then Nicki Minaj is there, and they're like, what is happening? It's just people with just tons of money. Like, you got to get on that sweet bar mitzvah circuit. How come we can't can't get some of that bar mitzvah money.
I know we should.
Really, because I'm a DJ for bar mitzvahs. So I mean, they
it goes up.
Woo.
I mean, and it
gets
is
off.
crazy party town, right?
Yeah, it is, and the way the room is designed and everything like that. If it's Hollywood, everybody better be looking like they belong in Hollywood.
You got to look like you belong in Hollywood, and it's like too
You
much.
should never be at a bar mitzvah and have like a reporter ask you, "Who are you wearing?"
It's a terrible thing.
It's just way too hyped of a bar mitzvah.
Went to the red carpet of little Jimmy Goldberg's bar mitzvah.
Now I know you've done television shows and stuff, but I mean the Cheech and Chong days and stuff like that. Are you guys going to do any movies that you guys are into?
We would love to. We're writing one right now for us that we hope we get to make. We're working with Rob Corddry's production company, and the guy John Stern there is helping us write this film that we've been wanting to do for a very long time. So
hopefully we can do it. But I mean, Cheech and Chong, amazing and inspirational to us in many ways. Like two guys doing comedy, and two guys, they weren't necessarily foils for each other. They sometimes got each other going, and it was very inspirational the way they talked over each other. Same thing with like Strange Brew, one of our favorite movies ever, Bob and Doug McKenzie and Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas. Those guys were amazing, and they were just free flowing, like kind of went over each other. And
there wasn't a funny man and a straight man. They were both idiots, and they were both so funny, and they both kind of got
very
each other's
inspirational
spine.
for us, and showed us how we could do it in a way that would be organic to us.
Do you guys have to play the radio rule, and which is you have to have a dick, a dork, and a deer? Do you guys play that back and forth?
No, I think we both just try to be as funny as we can, and almost like peel back expose like this sort of weird dual comedy brain. Yeah. And I think when people see twins, there's a little bit of wish fulfillment in that. And because we hear this a lot from people is, I wish I had a twin. Well, what are you saying when you say, I had a twin? You're saying, I wish I had
you're a narcissist.
You're saying there should be more of me in the world.
In the world, a whole other human being. It looks like me.
No, I think what they're saying is that I wish there was somebody else on this earth who was so on the same wavelength with me that I could bounce ideas and they could finish my sentences, and we could share a wavelength. And so when we get on stage and we're riffing and sort of finishing up each other's sentences, and in a sense like having fun creatively on stage, it's showing people like a really,
without telling them specifically, you get the full experience. People watch the show and they're like, oh yeah, that's what it's like to have somebody who's on that wave.
I love it. You're at the Comedy Zone this weekend, so we got shows all the way through two tonight?
Two tomorrow.
Two tonight, two tomorrow, 7:30 and 9:45 tonight, which is Friday night, and then 7 and 9:30 on Saturday night. They're great shows. We brought our feature in, the guy who we travel around and do the road with, Nate Fritzen, who is from New York, phenomenal comedian. Tonight on the shows, our buddy who from Raleigh, who opened for us.
Grew up in Charlotte.
He's hosting the show, so it just top to bottom is going to be a fun show.
How do people follow you?
Follow us on Twitter. We're at Sklar Brothers.
Follow
We're
us on
Instagram at Sklar Brothers, and our Sklar Brothers on Instagram. And that we usually are really pretty explicit about where you can see us on TV and what podcasts have come out and who are the guests and all that stuff there.
Yeah, your podcast is like spot on.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Ileana Douglas, we interviewed her this week, and that show drops.
She tells an amazing story about meeting Peter Sellers when she was 14 on the set of Being There.
Unreal. We were like dumbstruck as she's telling us the story.
And talking to Peter Sellers from beyond through a medium.
Wow.
It's a great story.
Wow. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, man. Thank you
Thanks
for having us.
Thank you, you guys. Got to get you to sign the wall.
Of course. Let's do it. Thank you.
It's great, man. Great interview. I was like, I love an interview where you're like, has it started?